like songs that are a little, what we call sexy. You can see from the title, it's more of a love album.
Welcome to another week of Manversations 2020. Thank you guys for everybody for tuning in. Like I said, every week we always like to thank you guys for the love and support that you guys have shown us for it's been about 7 months now. Today actually makes 7 months that we've been on here chopping up good game and already getting the superb love of support. And we appreciate that. None of that goes unnoticed, and we are we have gratification towards that, and we're truly honored for you guys to follow us, spread the word, and let other people know what we have going on and the responses of what we're doing, exactly what we were aiming for and that was to give you guys a great platform, great information to better our people in our community, especially our men, which we gear the target towards. So better men will make uh, a better community. So thank you for helping us to get to that level. So with that said, it is the 4th of July weekend. Um, I guess do they consider this the 4th of July weekend, or is it the weekend after?
The weekend closest, so it'll be this one.
It'll be
Yeah.
this one, okay.
Yeah, it's
So
Tuesday, so yeah.
yeah, okay, cool. So I know this is 4th of July weekend. I hope everybody's been pretty much safe and doing what they were doing. I actually went out last night for I went out. I think this was the second time in about 2 months, and before that, I haven't been out in a long time. But I went out last night with my best friends, and there was a new R&B spot that we went to downtown, and they do this once a year. And we went there and supported, and it was a great turnout. And
Nice.
coming back now, we were coming back, and this is why I say, the most scariest thing is 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. A
Mm.
lot of things happen, and it kind of triggered me. And why I say it kind of triggered me, because while we were coming back, even though we were in a long line coming back home, we knew there was an accident, because it was so many cars backed up heading on I-95 south towards heading I-90 south towards I no heading I-95 north from south, going north towards 441 or 183rd. And right before you got between 135th and 183rd, there was a huge accident. It was about an 8, 9 car pileup. And you could tell that somebody might have been racing, and just a split second tapped somebody, and all heck broke loose with everybody's car,
Wow.
because you could see that the back of the side of the truck, his his driver's back tire was toe up out the frame, and then the other car, it was in the other lane. The front of their car was just totaled. Then you had some women that was on the side. They had 2 or 3 cars, and their cars was toe up on the side. And then you had 2 other separate cars ahead, and then 2 other cars ahead. And I'm like, wow, that was a serious
Terrible.
little collide. Yeah, it was just a domino effect. And like I said, you know, when we look at things like that, you always say to yourself, damn, I'm glad that we waited a little bit longer and not left at the time, because we probably would have got caught up in that mayhem as well. Always look at things like that.
No doubt.
But, you know, for the most part, for what we saw, everybody seemed like they were okay. They were pretty much out their car. We didn't see anybody that was in the car hurt or anything like that. It was just all cosmetic damages, which you can replace the cars. You have insurance on them, but you're also going to be you're going to be inconvenienced in the meantime because of it. So, we always hear at Manversations, anytime a big holiday come up, we like to warn you guys to be very safe. That one split second can change your whole life. So always think of the best route or the best way you can maneuver without getting yourself caught up in situations
Right.
that might end up turning tragic for you and your family. So always remember, you ain't got to try to go an extra 5 miles an hour to get home quick. Maybe you want to slow down an extra 5 miles and make sure everybody get there safe as well. Prayers go out to everybody who was in that accident, hoping that everybody can recover from that, and then jump back on their start, because we are in a recession. So part of that recession, not saying recession, but I would say inflation. And everybody's pretty hurt in the pockets when it comes to extra stuff, especially insurance. And I'm hoping everybody have the insurance and not driving around with no insurance, man, because you don't want to
Well,
be driving around with no insurance and then get into a car accident like that. Because
crazy.
boy, man, oh man, But like I said, everybody just hoping that everybody keeps safe, and then going into the 4th of July, come as we know, it doesn't matter that the 4th of July is during the week. People are going to celebrate it during the week. So when it comes, if you're going to church, if you're outside at a certain time, just be very careful, because we do have knuckleheads that do shoot off in the air, and what goes up will come down. So just try to maneuver
Oh,
yourself around the ignorance. Be in a house or be in a structure at a certain time, and make sure that you are able to see the next day, because that's all it's about. We want to celebrate, but we also want to be alive as well. So
Right.
just keep that in mind, and also, tell your children the significance and importance about being safe and maneuvering safe in this world as well. And remember, July 1st, they just passed the law for everybody to carry guns without a concealed weapons license. So now you have people out here that's going to have more guns on them, especially on 4th of July. So just be very careful. Avoid any arguments, any beefs, and avoid anybody that's out here doing road rage. Let them go. Don't even address it. Just let them go, because the minute you argue with these people that now have guns on them, might be your last argument, might be the last thing you say. And I think that valuable lifespan that you have is would be better off saying something to your children and to your family, opposed to saying it to a stranger and then never having anything to say to your family afterwards. So just be very mindful and very cautious. So I just wanted to put that out there, get that out the way, because this is one of the biggest holidays of the year. So just be safe. And that's what from us, Manversations, here to you and your family. All right. With that being said, tonight broadcast is forgiveness. This is a topic that Bobby Drake wanted to talk about, and I think is a very important topic to talk about. So while we get into that, we definitely want to get into the definition of forgiveness. So forgiveness, the action or process of forgiving or being forgiven. Um, she is so quick to ask forgiveness when she has overstepped the line. So that is one of the definitions of it. What are the 4 R's of forgiveness? The responsibility of forgiveness. Accept what has happened and show yourself compassion. Second part is remorse. Remorse. Use guilt or remorse as a gateway to positive behavior change. Restoration. Make amend with whomever you're forgiven, even if it's yourself. Very important. And the last is renewal. Learn from the experience and grow as a person. All right. Also, want to get into what is the true meaning of forgiveness. Psychologists generally define forgiveness as a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance towards a person or group who has harmed you, regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness. All right. And the last we have here is, what does the Bible say about forgiveness? Because we always talk about in the biblical context. Well, we want to give you guys a biblical context. So be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as in Christ God forgave you. For if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you have a grievance against someone. All right, so we just gave you a little synopsis about forgiveness, and definitely going to pass it over to the eloquent Bobby Drake, and let him go ahead and basically break down the forgiveness so we can understand it a little bit better.
absolutely. So forgiveness is a topic that can be a very sensitive subject for a lot of people. Pound peace to you as well, Miller. Forgiveness is a topic that often gets mentioned, but when it comes to actually making use of it or implementing it, that can be a very sensitive and touchy subject for a lot of people. Because we know that forgiveness basically deals with your response to offenses and trespasses against you. And that can obviously range quite widely. That could be from something as simple as, someone misses and takes one of your French fries and eats it in front of your face, and you're really hungry about, and you're serious about finishing all those fries. It's something as serious as somebody harmed one of your loved ones, and now you're out here and you feel some type of way about it. So it can really go the whole span. But a lot of people tend to have be on one extreme or the other, from what I've seen in my experience. You usually have people who are very quick, easy to forgive. As soon as something happens, they just over it right away. They just forgive and let it go. You have some people that they'll just hold on to it like a dog with a bone, and they ain't letting go of that thing for nothing. There's no bargain with them, no negotiation, no nothing. That's where they at. That's where they gonna be at. Um, but the reality is that forgiveness is one of those subjects that actually has a lot of crossover. So typically, when we talk about forgiveness, usually it's brought up in a religious or spiritual sense. You'll definitely hear it mentioned a lot in Judeo-Christian religions, Christianity, Islam, and others as well. But there's also other religions as well that cover it. Forgiveness is, I wouldn't say a universal principle, but it's one of those concepts that seems to have a footprint in just about every single belief system, every single philosophy, both the spiritual, religious, and the secular as well too. So typically, when forgiveness is brought up, there are those who mean it in a well-meaning sense. They want you to forgive, or they're going to press you to forgive others because they're going to say you should do it, you need to do it. Either it's because they want you to live up to a specific religious creed or something else. Some want you to do it for your own personal benefit, regardless of your belief system. You have some people that want you to do it just for the sake of the other person. So maybe they have it's a mixed multitude. They have allegiances to both individuals or parties who are involved in this incident where forgiveness is necessary, or maybe they just have allegiance to the other side only, and they want you to forgive that other person as a means of letting them off the hook or cutting them some slack. So forgiveness is a lot of mud in the water. But the first thing I want to go to is I know there's a lot of myths about how forgiveness is something that's imprinted upon us from Christianity, especially when we're talking about black people, and the conversation goes to issues of slavery and white supremacy. You have many people, non-blacks and some black people as well, that say that we should just forgive and let it go and get over it, what have you. Um, I think first off, it is mindful to understand before we say anything else about it. Forgiveness does not mean that you are necessarily letting somebody off the hook for something. Forgiveness is not a get out of jail free card. You can forgive somebody and still hold them accountable. So, perfect example is with our own children. So, right now, if you have a small child, and let's say you told your child, okay, you know what? I'm going to be gone for about 15 minutes. I have to run to the store real quickly. You have some chores to do. I want you to clean your room up. I don't want you playing in the kitchen. I don't want you playing in the living room. I have some delicate things there. Go ahead and clean up your room, do your chores. Parent comes back, see the child hiding, or the child is real quiet or acting real awkward, real shifty. You can tell something's wrong. They're wearing on their face. And you go in the kitchen and you find maybe it's a plate or a glass, something broken on the floor. Now, clearly, your child had no business being there. You told your child where they should be, what they should be doing. And sure enough, you go where they haven't even done that either. You're more than likely going to be upset with your child. You're going to be angry with your child, probably in some cases. And the child, of course, will say, Mom, Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It was an accident. I'll never do it again. The whole cop and please and everything else. Whether it's in that moment or later on, you're going to forgive your child. More than likely, you're going to forgive your child. However, Just because you forgave your child, it doesn't mean that they're off the hook. You might forgive the child, and we're past this, but there's still a consequence for the action. So maybe they're grounded, maybe they're punished, they got allowance or something, that's gone, they're gonna have to pay for it. Maybe they need to do some extra work around the house they normally wouldn't have to do. Maybe it's some big outing or something that they had planned or a field trip or something and they can't go anymore. Whatever it is, there's gonna be some consequences gonna result. Same rules apply. Because you forgive somebody of something, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily letting them off the hook. And in fact, I would argue that in some cases, you should be very limited in how you go about that. There might be some things where you can forgive somebody and say, you know what, you get a pass on this, go ahead and ride out. Some people, you might forgive them, but they still have to eat the consequences that they have earned. And that's both your benefit and for theirs as well. Because unfortunately, for a lot of people, without consequences, there's not much of an incentive to do the right thing. So we have laws, we have rules and things that exist because if we didn't have these in place, negative things would happen. But even with that understanding in place, we just talked about speeding and stuff on the roads. We put speed limits because we understand if you're going at a certain speed, it's going to be too hard to stop in some cases. You're not going to have enough time to make a sound reaction or adjustment. People's lives can be killed. Depending on how fast you go, that might determine whether or not you're even able to survive an accident that you get into as well too. Unfortunately, that's not enough for many people to go ahead and just do the right thing. So what do we have to do? We have to input consequences. If you speed, you can get pulled over, have to pay a ticket, have to pay a fine. Depending on how much fast you speed, the penalty is gonna be worse. Some cases you might even get arrested flat out. Forget the ticket. You go to jail. And these are things to incentivize people to do the right thing when plain old common sense or your moral code doesn't fill in the blanks. So really quickly, and this is kind of a tie into what we talked about last week a little bit, because as I said, forgiveness is one of these principles that has a lot of overlap. There's actually a lot of secular justification for forgiveness as well. So there are a number of different benefits that have been researched as far as why you should forgive others. So some research that's been determined from a lot of places. It's from Johns Hopkins, from Cornell University, a number of other sources. Forgiveness has actually been shown to help reduce your stress levels. So when people are able to practice forgiveness in their lives, they're able to forgive others for wrongs against them, whether they're aware of them or not, or even forgive yourself. 'Cause that's another issue. Sometimes we've done things that we regret that we can't take back or caused negative outcomes. And a lot of people walk around with guilt on their back and that weighs them down. The act of forgiveness allows you to release that weighing on your shoulders so it actually can help reduce your stress levels. Forgiveness has actually been proven through a number of studies to actually reduce your negative cholesterol in your body. It's also shown to be able to reduce your levels of heart disease, heart attack, stroke. There's a number of different conditions in the body that can actually be caused by not forgiving, mainly because of the stress factor. So think about it. If someone has done you something that obviously troubles you enough where you have issues with letting it go, to have that constantly in your brain, taking up real estate in there, you got to go through that day in, day out. Nobody can say this person's name around you. Anytime certain words get brought up, it triggers you just like a traumatic event. It takes you right back to that moment in time when you felt offended. That's a lot to hold on to, right? And we know there's all kind of stories, both myths and real life examples, where people have been so pressed from their inability to forgive, they've actually sought revenge. And we know that sometimes revenge can also turn out where you end up hurting yourself as well, or just yourself. There's many sayings that go along with that that says if you go out to get revenge, make sure you dig two graves, one for the other person, one for yourself. There's the old school analogy about, uh, you know, being unable to forgive is like holding a hot coal in your hand to throw the other person. Yeah, you can throw it at them, but you're going to burn yourself. So there's a number of different sayings and old school wisdom that relay the fact that this is something that can also cause you anguish as well. And to be honest, if the person that's offended you isn't someone of any consequence, it's a burned bridge, it's a relationship that doesn't serve you anymore, or even somebody that, there's no connection to, Why should this person have the honor and the privilege of taking up that kind of space in your head rent free? And in most cases, these people ain't even thinking about you. So here you are. You just can't stop thinking about this person. They said this thing. They did this thing against you. God knows how long ago. Meanwhile, the other person might have even forgotten your name, or they see you in the street, they wave at you, smiling, oblivious to the fact that you got heat with them. They're living their best life. Meanwhile, you're still stuck in the past. That space that's better off spent for other things. There are people in your life. There's things that you have in your life going for you that you need to be present for. There are people who deserve your full, undivided attention. Your significant other, your children, your loved ones, your friends, hell, even your pets. If you're a person that has things in life that are worth living for, not being able to forgive is going to take up space and your ability to do those things, and it's going to keep you from being at peace with yourself because you have this unfinished business in the back of your mind. And like anything else, when you have unfinished business, until you resolve it, it don't go nowhere, right?
So,
Um, you also have to sometimes develop advanced concepts of forgiveness. So one of the concepts is the idea of forgiving a person without saying to them. So the situation that you've been involved in that forgiveness is a possibility in, sometimes it might have to do with a person or situation that you cannot go back to or address directly. You're talking about maybe you've been in an abusive relationship, maybe with someone who is dangerous, someone who poses a significant threat to you. This might be a person that you can't come to face and talk things out. Maybe if you go to them, it's going to be a life or death situation. Sometimes you have to be able to forgive a person in absentia, or you have to do it when they're not around. You might just have to talk to yourself, talk to God or whoever it is that you believe in, or whatever your spiritual system is. But you just have to sort that out and work that out with yourself. And in some cases, you're going to have to just go ahead and release that. Another technique that you can make use of, and this has also been proven to be effective when it comes to venting, releasing anger and frustration, is sometimes the best thing you can do is write in a letter or type an email detailing all your thoughts on the situation. Just get out of your head everything that you're feeling. Take all that, channel it, put it in a physical form, whether it's on a computer screen or phone screen, or even just writing by hand. I know a lot of therapists will recommend to do by hand because there's an extra level of connection when we write things with our hand. The idea of transferring something that's inside of our heads and actually making it physical, we can hold it, touch it, and feel it. It can make a big difference. It's powerful. And so you write this letter out, you read it, you go through it, and you really feel this. You look at it because for the first time, you actually made everything that's inside your chest, that's on your mind, you actually put it out there in the open. And then instead of giving to the person, you can crumble it up and throw it away. Some people suggest that you can burn it. I know way back then they might have suggested you can make like a message in a bottle or something, put in a bottle, throw it down the ocean, whatever it is. But it should be some sort of ritual that bears significance. And the act of doing that, releasing it, getting out of your system, it can't come back inside you. It's changed form. So it went from a physical form to vanishing in that regard. It can be very powerful. And if that's what you need to do to be able to go ahead and move on and let it go, it's worth doing. There's also a number of scriptural backgrounds in different faiths that also lend strength to the idea of forgiveness as well. I was trying to find it earlier, but I know that in the Bible it specifically says that if you have uh, animosity, if you have hatred, if you have beef, pretty much with your brother, don't even give your offerings to the Lord. Don't even do that. So whether it's a religious festival, whether it's a communion or even back in the day when they gave burnt offerings, do not give an offering to the Lord until you've made this right with your brother, because God is not going to honor your prayer. God is not going to honor your sacrifice because God says that's your brother. And as it says in scripture, if you can't love your brother who you've seen, then no, you can love me who you have not seen. So go ahead, take the steps to make this right with this other person. And as long as you've done the work, that's on you. If the other person doesn't accept your forgiveness, if they reject you, they push you away, that's on them. You've done your part. It's on them to go ahead and make peace with that. So that's what the Bible says in regards to that. But there's also verses in the Quran as well, in Islam, that speak to forgiveness. One of them says, "So excuse them and plead for forgiveness for them, and consult them in their affairs. And once you resolve, put your trust in Allah. Indeed, Allah loves those who trust in Him." And there's a number of different verses where that correlate to that. So you have science, you have mental in the mental health field, you have science, you have the spiritual realm, you have religions such as Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, and Shinto, where forgiveness is expressed. And as much as it's a release for the other person, it's mainly a release for yourself. It's taking shackles off your feet. It's taking off these weights that are keeping you stuck in this moment that you can't get past. And it's pushing you to go ahead and move into the future where you have more life, where you have more opportunities, where you have more freedom, where you have peace. Right. But as long as you're carrying grudges, you're having these weights on your shoulders, you're going to hinder yourself. You're giving other people power over you and control over you where just at their name, just at the thought of them, they got you. They got you in the chokehold. And in some cases, we know we've all seen those people where when we're upset or whatever, you're mad at somebody, and the other person's provoking you, they're just saying stupid stuff to get on your nerves, and they're just kiki and laughing it up right there.
Mm.
Meanwhile, you getting hot, you getting mad, you getting heated. They're working mind control over you. They chilling. Meanwhile, you're all apoplectic, you out of shape and everything. Don't give other people that kind of power over you, especially if it's people that aren't worth it. You know what I'm saying? Um, and again, this is one of those concepts that is advanced. This is advanced adulthood that we're talking about here, because it can be difficult. It's one thing if you're a child and somebody knocks over your ice cream cone and you're upset about it for 3 hours or something. It's another thing when you're an adult and the consequences of the weight can be a little bit more severe. Um, Maybe your kind of significant other cheating on you. Maybe it's a case where someone is slandering you on your job while you're at work. Could be a case of a neighbor who's being disrespectful or making life living next door to them hell for you. There's a number of different places that this can pertain to, but ultimately, look at forgiveness as something that is done for you. That's the advice that I would give. Don't look at forgiveness as letting somebody off the hook. And again, you can forgive somebody but still get the consequences. If someone breaks in your house and steals your belongings, you can forgive that person. That doesn't mean you shouldn't call 12 and go ahead and get them booked up real nice and solid, or that you shouldn't go ahead and make the effort to get your belongings back. The forgiveness is not a get out of jail free card. So if people are trying to press you to go ahead and forgive the person and forget as well, you don't have to forget. You can remember what was done, you can remember how it moved. Forgiveness doesn't mean that everything goes back to the way it was before. It just means that we move past this. That doesn't mean that there's going to be a return pass where you can come back inside. Just like when you're in an event or something, once you leave the event, you can't come back in. You can set that boundary in place for yourself as well too. Where I forgive you, we cool, but we can't go back to where it was. It's different now. So make sure that you keep that in mind, and hopefully that's gonna you know be a word that somebody needs. Hopefully that's gonna give somebody permission to forgive. And like anything else, it's a difficult concept. Um, you're not gonna get it overnight. You might have some issues right now with some people that you're having trouble wrestling with. Don't think that you're going to get past it in a week, a year. Sometimes it might be years in the making, especially if the offense is really heavy. Sometimes you may have been a victim of somebody since childhood. Maybe it was a parent or a sibling. So it's going to take a lot of work to get over that. And if it's something that you're really having trouble digesting, you really can't move past, it's really affecting you in the present, um, seek a therapist. We had the brother Matt Genius. Shout out to Matt. Um, Go ahead, look him up. Look up somebody else around you. Get a qualified therapist. Talk to them. Put this before them so they can give you more tools and customize a care plan for you that's going to help you get to where you need to be and put this behind you. Because again, the future is beautiful, but if you can't clear up the fog that's in the present, you're never going to be able to get to that point to see that because every day is going to look like yesterday. That's my 15 cents on that.
Definitely, man. It was definitely a word, man. People are feeling it. I'm getting text messages on some real stuff. That's real what you just spoke about. And we have to understand the values and the seriousness of behind the forgiveness. Um, and forgiveness is for yourself. You can also forgive others as well. And the significance of it is for the greater being of releasing any burden or pressure that has been built on you because of what was basically targeted towards you or basically put on you. So um, when you look at the depths of what you're talking, like when you look at the depths of the reality of what's going on, um, forgiveness plays a good part in your consciousness, because once your consciousness is free, it allows you to absorb and have space for everything else that is truly more important to you. And I think we have to look at the different variations of forgiveness, right? Um, and when do we forgive when it comes to something that is serious, not only to ourselves, but also to our community? And I want to show you guys this video um, because I think a lot of times we have people that look like us that get in these scenarios and want to forgive the people that's terrorizing them. And that form of forgiveness that you're giving them sends a bad message, not only to yourself and your self dignity, but also a bad message to the community that you're in. So I definitely will show this video and then I can elaborate more on that.
That's a harassment though.
Yo, hold on.
Get some money, that's all.
Hold on.
I'm not gonna ask for ID, none of that.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. It's all on camera.
No, you didn't.
It's all on
No,
camera.
you didn't.
You know my name. You put me in.
You said his name is Isaiah.
You know my name.
You said his name was Isaiah. You ain't asking.
Do I have a wanted flyer up? I'm walking around. I'm not telling you nothing. You know my name. That's it, right?
I don't know your name.
Oh man, that was bad. Take me out of
I'm
cuffs.
stopping you.
Take me out of cuffs. You got my name.
You got ID on you?
That was bad. You got my name. That was bad. Yo, here, could you take my phone and keep on calling my lawyer?
Keep on calling. What's your name? What's your name? Keep on calling my lawyer. What's your name?
Isaiah.
All right.
Nah, it's not a stop. You're not asking me nothing. I didn't do nothing.
You ain't ask nothing. You ain't ask nothing. You done. You done.
Or you
He
want
done. He done.
You in a
He's
bad
done.
fucking place.
Oh, he is.
I thought
Yo, you got his name? What's your name? What's your badge number?
Yo, bro.
All right, I'm gonna take these handcuffs off you. All right.
You talking about lawyer? You talking about lawyer?
They didn't know you had a lawyer. They
Oh,
didn't know you had a lawyer.
oh, he's so
Talk to
done.
that lawyer right now, bro. Yo, what do I need from him? What do I need from him? I need his name, badge number,
Where's
whatever.
this nigga? Get this nigga out of here.
That's his badge number.
That I got out of here, right?
I appreciate your cooperation.
I'm not cooperating.
I don't know you, nigga.
Write your name and your badge number. That's it. Write your name and your badge number. You too. Write your name and your badge number.
All right. So the video was basically these young guys, in New York. It takes place in New York. And I told Black people about New York and California. New York and California is two of the most critical states for Black people to live in. And why I say that is because those two states are the prototype states. What do I mean by prototype states? Meaning that any bill that's ever been passed in America has to go through these two states, because these two states, they use it as a test zone. So if it's when they bring up whatever law they want and they run it through these two states to test it to see if it's something that's going to be effective, once they implement it, then nationwide other states pick up on it, and then now you have a national law that's presumed through all the other states. New York specifically is a state that loves to run new laws and implement new stuff. especially in New York. And I think a lot of black brothers, they really got to watch themselves and their head on a swivel when you're living up in New York. The harassment, the bullying from the police department is just way more than anybody can tolerate. And I think that educating and keeping communication with our brothers up there is very vital and important. As you guys could see, this took place in New York, so the brothers were just sitting out, lounging, just finished getting something to eat at a local uh, corner takeout restaurant, and being harassed and bullied around by officers that didn't know that these young boys had resources that now puts them in a hot seat. So harassing them, then he ends up putting them in handcuffs and not realizing that he ordered his homeboy to take his phone out and call his lawyer. His lawyer is now on the phone telling him and instructing him what to do and what he needs to do to fight for these young men so that way they don't get bullied and harassed by these race soldiers, because it looks like this is their tactic for dealing with young brothers out there in New York. And kudos to that guy and the lawyer for being unapologetic enough to let him know in a cool manner what he need. I got you out of the handcuffs. Now let me do my job and put the litigation on these guys so that way you don't have to go through this or anybody else have to go through that, period. And I think that in itself is definitely the right direction we need to go in. I wanted to show that video to show you guys that it's very important as young men out here to get yourself equipped with lawyers, different resources, politicians, whatever you need to put in your back pocket, so that way you have an incident like this, you're able to protect yourself and stop it from going all the way left. And that's what he did. He stopped it from going all the way left instead of going to jail. Now he has the upper hand where he can put a litigation, maybe a lawsuit on the department for harassment. And I really hope that it goes great. I'll definitely keep and see if I can get an update later. But when we look at the Benjamin Crumps and lawyers like that who basically get with the family and tell them to publicly forgive their oppressors or people that subjugate them in order to get the bag. We'll give you the money, but go out here and apologize, or go out here and tell the masses that, you know, they don't need to stand behind you because everything is good. Let's just keep it peaceful and get this check and then go about your business. But you have a lawyer that, you know, is standing up and saying, no, we're not going to take that. And we're going to fight that. And just give me what I need and I got the rest. I think we need more unapologetic lawyers like that. We need young brothers to have that connection, because that certain forgiveness, when we do that, it just keeps the cycle of what goes on between us and law enforcement over and over and over again. I had a conversation with a lady, and we were talking, and she said she had an incident that happened at a hospital, and I told her, you need to go down there and document that, put that on record, um, and explain in details how serious the lack of attention that they gave you and your family, and let them know that it was a life or death situation that could have occurred out of that lack of attention, medical attention that they gave. I always talk about this book right here. Uh, this book I have on the back. Anybody who is in, I always run across medical professionals and I ask them if they have this book, and they say, oh no, I don't have that book. And I say, why you don't have this book? This is a medical professional's Bible right here. This book is so powerful because it goes through the deep rooted history of how racially unjust our Black people have been in the medical field. Phenomenal book. As you can see, it's a thick book that is documented pages of what we go through. So I told her, in order for us to get change, we have to make sure that we're making these documentations, that we're making the reports, that we're making sure that there's ink inside their files. So that way, when people look at things and say, why isn't nothing getting done? And you have all these people that complain, now it puts a bigger lens on the situation and it gets the job cleaned up one way or another. And it's the same thing. We have forgiveness for these officers that's out here that harass us, and we figure, oh, they just let us go, so we good. Okay, thank you, officer. My bad. I forgive you, man. Da da da. And that's the whole cycle that they want us to be on. Oh, you should be grateful. I let you go. No, 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 no. You shouldn't have never had me in cuffs in the first place. So instead of you letting me go, how about you give me my information and I'll think about whether the system is going to let you go or let the system is going to put your ass in jail. And that's the mentality that we have to be on, because too much times that the forgiveness part, we exude that so much that it really controls our mindset and takes us away from being unapologetic for us to get justice out here, and also for us to add protection so that way other young Black individuals don't go through the same treatment that we go through. And so I just definitely wanted to show that video to show you guys how uh, you take a part of forgiveness and flip it in a way of protection, because the forgiveness is what they want you to be subservient to, and that way they can control you. So there are some parts of forgiveness that you have to flip in your favor in order to be more powerful and also to give protection for our people in the long run. So that's why I wanted to show you guys that. If you guys want to chime in on that, you can. It's up to you, Major.
Well, man, you guys pretty much said everything. Because I can reiterate certain parts of it, but um, you guys said some very powerful things. I just want to share something I was reading about how forgiveness can be so helpful. Forgiveness can lead to, as Bobby alluded to earlier, healthier relationships, improved mental health, less anxiety, stress, and hostility, fewer symptoms of depression, lower blood pressure, a stronger immune system, improved heart health, and improved self-esteem. That's something pretty serious, y'all. I mean, that's pretty heavy stuff. Mentally, spiritually, and in terms of your actual physical health and well-being, the way that your body responds, to life can actually be in a much higher and superior state simply by you just practicing forgiveness. Now, as Anthony just spoke, um, you have to be very careful with forgiveness, right? Because you have to understand how the other side will take forgiveness, and people with dark intentions will take forgiveness and they'll use it against you. You have to be very, very mindful of that. That's in a dating and relationship capacity. That's in a friendship capacity. That's in a dealing with other family members capacity as a race. And, most importantly, in a societal capacity and how we deal with racism, white supremacy. Man, they will go out of their way to find any Black person that has been aggrieved and shove a mic in their face. And the first thing they'll ask them is, well, do you forgive them? They don't do this to any other race of people,
No, no,
especially right after this has happened, right after, the wound is still fresh. No healing has occurred. And the first thing they ask about is forgiveness. As a person who, is very careful with forgiveness, and doesn't forgive much. I'll be very honest. I don't forgive much, You know what I mean? But I feel personally that forgiveness is a good thing when accompanied by good faith and accountability. Because whereas, as a person, you may be forgiving, maybe you are forgiving people for yourself, but that is not the concept that most people have of it. You know what I mean? Most people's concept of forgiveness is, I'm forgiving this person. Yeah, the Bible says I'm doing it for myself or whatever the case may be, but I'm forgiving this person because of them, because this is somehow a benefit to them or whatever the case may be. And we have to be very careful about that because whereas Bobby is correct, it shouldn't mean letting other people off the hook. More often than not, it does lead to letting other people off the hook. And that's where we got to be careful. You got these people out here, they so quick to forgive. They forgive George Zimmerman. They forgive Pantaleo. They forgive. You don't want to get to the point where forgiveness makes you soft and stupid is really, what I want to say at the end of the day about forgiveness. It's good to forgive. But I would add the caveat that you need to make sure that you're doing all this forgiving and with people and in instances where it makes sense, especially if you're going to publicly say it. White people are allowed to forgive people and not have to come out and say it in the news media, right? Whether or not you forgive this person that aggrieved you and harmed you or your family member or whatever, that's really not anybody else's business. But they make sure to go out of their way to put it out there in the atmosphere that this black person, who had 3 of their family members killed by this racist white person, they forgive them. So the message becomes, well, it's really not that bad what they did because the family forgave them. And you also have to realize in cases, there are people, in the courtrooms that they've gotten lighter sentences. The jury actually came out and said that they gave this bitch Amber Geiger a lighter sentence because the family forgave her. They actually said that. So I would say, just don't let forgiveness make you a sucker at the end of the day. We do too much of that bullshit as a people. You understand what I'm saying? And we need to get off that because at the end of the day, it does make us soft. It does make us let our guard down. It does make us docile and controllable and non-threatening. And we need to be anything but if we're going to be black people in this world. You understand? So while I do agree with the general concept of forgiveness, we need to be very mindful about how we administer and freely give away, in many instances, our forgiveness. It betrays us at the highest levels. And, some people, the way in which they display forgiveness and the way in which they come across, it's treason. Botham Jean's family, that shit was treasonous. And you know how treason is punished. I feel exactly that way about those people and anyone else who does some bullshit like that. We need to be very careful about that. So I'll land my plane there.
Definitely.
Just to put a capstone on it. No, I agree with that 100%. You have to understand.
Uh-oh. We lost Bobby?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yep, we lost Bobby.
Bob looked like you about to say some deep shit too. But real talk, man.
The man pulled him off, man. The man pulled him down.
Hey, man.
Pulled him down.
We must be getting too hot in here, man. We must be getting too hot. They cut our stream. Goddamn. Man, Bobby.
They send them people's got abducted for a second.
My God.
But yeah, to go ahead. we have to be mindful and understand that forgiveness, like a lot of other things, because it's not just limited to forgiveness, but like a lot of different concepts, forgiveness is one of those concepts that, as a whole, collectively, we tend to have a very elementary. Wouldn't even say elementary. We have a very kindergarten, preschool level of comprehension,
Agreed.
but a lot of depth that exists, a lot of nuance that exists with it.
Mhm.
And I would argue that the reason why so many people take issue with forgiveness on a number of different fronts is because they're only operating from a elementary or a preschool kindergarten level. And that's on both sides. The people that are quick to forgive and the people who are reluctant to forgive is
Mhm.
because the understanding they have of it is very, very basic.
Mhm.
Um, like anything else, how you do one thing is how you do all things.
Yeah.
If you are a strong person, then you can definitely see forgiveness as a way to exercise your strength, showing your advancement in terms of your maturity. As a strong person, you can also be on the other side of the spectrum and say, well, because I'm strong, I refuse to forgive this person or whatever the circumstance that I don't need to do it. And you can be also be on the other side where you can say, you know what, um, I forgive easily, but it's because at my heart I'm a coward, and forgiveness is the excuse that I'm using as to why I'm going to go ahead and take inaction and do nothing.
Agreed.
Um, I don't believe that it's helpful to be on any side of the spectrum. As with a
Mhm.
lot of things, the answer lies somewhere in the middle.
Mhm.
Especially when it comes to how forgiveness, when it's related to Black people and the systematic mistreatment that's occurred at the hands of the system of racism and white supremacy. Many times we'll have the white supremacists and those who are on all sides of the argument, but are white supremacists at the core. They'll go readily to the example of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And we know that whenever it's MLK or Black History Month, we always have the same two or three talking points with Dr. King. Uh, it's not a MLK Day if it's not some presentation of the "I Have a Dream" speech and everything. Basically, just talking about forgive, 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 forgive. However, Dr. King spoke on a lot more than forgiveness, and as much as he was a proponent of forgiveness, Dr. King was also a proponent primarily of justice.
Mhm.
True.
And
True.
Dr. King of old and today would very much say that if forgiveness is the price, excuse me, if justice is the price that has to be paid, or the forsaking of justice is what must be paid for the sake of forgiveness, I'm pretty sure he would say, if that's the case, then we have to put forgiveness on the back burner. Because when you have injustice, nothing makes it more difficult to forgive than when there is no repercussions for the actions. You've been harmed, you've been violated, and nothing has happened. There's been no consequences that have been paid, nothing has had to be restored. The person just gets off scot free. And then, especially if they get the ability to do it again and they do so,
Hmm.
Mhm.
at
That's
some
what,
point, something has to give because we're human beings, right?
and that's right. Good.
If we have a just society, we can't just have forgiveness because if that's the case, it's going to be a free for all. It's going to be anarchy. It's going to be chaos. Forgiveness
Precisely.
must be right alongside, not above and not beneath, justice.
Yeah.
And the more justice there is, the easier it will be to forgive as well. I believe it was Frederick Douglass who wrote an essay a while back. I believe it was him. Um, and I know I'm always forgetting the title, but I believe it's something to the effect of the the Christianity of the Bible versus the Christianity of the land. And he basically talked about it was a very good in depth. It wasn't too long, but it was deep enough where he got into the Christianity that is preached and professed by the Bible, the Christianity of God, as opposed to the bastardization and the polluting of Christianity as we know it. So Frederick Douglass would definitely say that the forgiveness that is espoused, where your loved one is murdered by race soldiers, and in CNN or MSNBC or someone puts a microphone in the face and says, "Do you forgive the officers who played a role in this? Or do you forgive this white supremacist that did such and such?" And press you to forgive, and you say, "Well, yeah, go ahead and forgive them." Frederick Douglass would very much suggest that that is the Christianity of the land,
Yeah.
and it is not indicative of the Christianity of the Bible that definitely pushes for justice the Christianity that says, yes, even God forgives, but that doesn't mean because God forgives you that God will necessarily remove consequence from you. Sometimes God will forgive you, but He'll still allow you to take that L because it's for your own good and it's for the greater good overall. So we definitely owe it to ourselves as adults, again, to do the due diligence. Don't be intellectually lazy and check out. Don't say, oh, I forgive or I don't forgive. No. Actually get into it, understand what it is, how it really works, and then operate accordingly. You can forgive somebody again, and it doesn't have to be publicized. It can be just between yourself and that person. It can be just between yourself and God, or whatever spiritual uh, figure it is that you put your trust and your belief in. It can be just a private act where no one else is aware of it, but it's on you. And if they come to you later on and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, this was foul. I shouldn't have done that," you can be like, "It's all good. I already forgave you for that," and keep it moving.
Exactly.
But
That's
again,
what it should
what
look
is
like.
done for you
Mhm.
doesn't have to be publicized. It's a private thing, like you said, Major. It's a private act. If it's publicized, if it's shared with the other person, great, wonderful. But it doesn't have to be. And most importantly of all, do not allow your positive attributes to be weaponized against you. We talked about boundaries in the past. That's a
Mm.
boundary right there too. For
Agreed.
the pressure to forgive people at the expense of letting them off the hook or get away with ignorance, that is a boundary that you should rigidly enforce. I'm not going to let you bully me into this. You want to know the answer?
Most
No, I don't forgive them.
right.
Or I have decided, or I have not forgiven them yet. You have the right to say that, and it should be respected. And if it's not, I got two words for you.
Mm. Well, look, I mean, what you're saying ties exactly in with what I was saying. You know what I'm saying about how, forgiveness is great when it is accompanied with, you know what I'm saying? And you start talking about, okay, good faith and accountability. If it's not, accompanied, and you can add justice to that, okay, fine, good faith, accountability, and in a racism, white supremacy context, justice. But forgiveness by itself, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. And
No.
I got that wisdom from an elder, you know what I mean? And they pretty much reinforced the point that you just stated. And that's why I don't
Mhm.
forgive easily and I don't forgive much, because people have a very, like you said, a very basic understanding of forgiveness. And people will usually interpret your forgiving spirit as weakness. Look at how that damaged Barack Obama, and look at how Barack Obama damaged the black community. You understand what I'm saying? That type of, he was so conciliatory, he caved to everything. You understand what I'm saying? That type of shit can't be tolerated. Bottom
At
line,
all.
but everything that you're saying, the caveats make sense. You know what I mean? But in order for us to get to that point where we can start to be more forgiving as a people, which I do agree with, more of us need to become more enlightened. We are in a major need of a serious paradigm shift where, more of us start to communicate on a higher level as we're doing now. Because right now, I would argue the overwhelming majority of people have that mongrel mentality where, forgiveness is akin to weakness. You know what I'm saying? And they don't do the good faith things that will allow you to be able to forgive them, because you know that the error that they made was an error in good faith. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Sure.
Too many of us, we're just not there yet. Go ahead, and you wanted to say something.
I did want to say that forgiveness publicly, the one thing that I embrace forgiveness publicly for is when you are very disrespectful to somebody publicly,
Hmm.
your forgiveness needs to be just as loud publicly. So if I
One.
Great
can
point.
disrespect you publicly, and I
Hmm.
was wrong for disrespecting you publicly,
Right.
my forgiveness needs to be amplified just as loud publicly to
Great
The
point.
show.
Let
apology
me
should be
jump in
loud.
with this. Let
It
me
Yeah.
should be
jump in
loud.
with this real quick. Last week, we following the news stories, right?
Mhm.
We got something a
Mhm.
little wrong.
Yes.
You dig? So the sister who was in the restaurant with the 14-year-old soldier
Mhm.
that stepped up and defended his mother.
Mhm.
We were real hard on that sister last week. You
True.
understand? We drug her a little bit,
Mhm.
but it wasn't because of any malice or ill intent from us. It was because
Mhm.
the news got the story wrong. The news
Exactly.
made it seem like this woman was just some hood rat looking for a fight, in a restaurant with a man, and she was texting her son talking about get the gat, come smoke this fool. That's how the news portrayed the story. It was nothing
Mhm.
like that. So I would like to ask the forgiveness of the audience and of that family if this ever gets to them, for being so harsh to that sister when she wasn't at fault like that. There
Mhm.
was no, texting her son to go get the gat. This fool is in here, dot dot dot, come and kill this dude. There was none of that.
Mhm.
This guy was having an argument with this woman in line. Apparently, from what I understand and from what witnesses say, he was getting upset because they got her order wrong. He felt like that was holding up the line. And so we
Mhm.
started yelling at this lady and breaking on this lady and, getting obnoxious with this lady. And, you know, the lady, I watching the video, I watched the video a couple times. When he's yelling at her, telling her to get out of here, if you say one more thing, I'm going to swing on you, this, that, and the third. The lady's telling her son to go get in the car.
Yeah.
And the lady didn't even have any food in her hand to leave with because they messed up her order. So this was some rowdy dude, just totally fresh out of jail, by the way. Just got out of jail 3 weeks prior, right?
Mhm.
Some
I
rowdy
heard it
dude
violent too.
got a whole bunch of got a domestic violence rap sheet this long. You understand what I'm saying? And he was just looking for somebody to start some shit with at the
Yeah.
end of the day. And his hood rat girlfriend was egging him on to hit this woman.
Mm.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? That's what happened.
And yeah,
And
and
he
we
swung
definitely
on her and started beating on her. And her son killed his ass, as he should.
yeah. I'm glad
All
you
right?
brought that.
You attack my mama, see what happened. You understand?
Uh,
So,
uh,
Glad you
bruh,
brought that point up. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so we need to ask for forgiveness. That's
Yeah.
what actually why I suggested this show this week, because we got that very wrong because the media got it wrong. We always go
Correct.
with receipts. Credible media sources were reporting the story another way. But we
Correct.
got it. Now that we know that it's right, we had to come back and make the correction. By the way, somebody in this guy's family or his girlfriend got a shirt calling him the Knockout King on the shirt. It's just all type of disgusting hood rat shit going on over there. They're mocking
the whole family away.
this situation. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Throw the whole talking about how we don't need your GoFundMe money. Fuck y'all, this, that, and I mean, just shitting on everybody that had something intelligent to say about the situation. What they don't tell you is
Correct.
their GoFundMe page got shut down. That's what they don't tell
Mm-hmm.
you. You
So
understand what I'm saying? Oh,
I definitely I definitely want to bring this, since you on the topic right now, I definitely
yeah,
want to bring this up.
yeah.
Um, so this guy wrote this. He says, all you had to say, all you had to say was, no, babe, stop. Let's get our food and go.
That's
And
it.
you would have been on a real eggplant instead of a cardboard cutout. Us, us men need a woman to check us when we're wrong, not to be ghetto at my funeral. Ladies, if you love your man, build him. Don't let him crash out. I thought that was super dope what he
Right.
said. And
No
this
doubt.
is this is the girl that egged him on, and now she's with a cardboard cutout twerking on him. And then I want to show the other caption of somebody else wrote. Somebody else wrote, I wasn't woman enough to grab you by the hand and say, babe, no, but I'm woman enough to bend over and give your cardboard cutout a show. So
Jesus.
I
Bars.
think I think people are really seeing it for what it is, and they're really shedding the accountability where it needs
Hmm.
to be shed, because
Right.
she has to take some accountability. And now, because the family is so ignorant, does the family request forgiveness? Do they give forgiveness and grace to this woman? Because you are actually the catalyst that got him killed.
Right. Real talk.
People
Absolutely.
are saying you should have diffused it. Instead, you egged it on, and he's no longer here. So, as a
Hmm.
family member, should I look at her and grant her forgiveness, or should I have a gripe and a grudge against her because you were the catalyst to get my baby or my family member killed?
And they have no animosity towards her whatsoever. They're right there doing that same shit along with her. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is. But and I totally agree with you on this. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? But that's not how it's being handled, man. Like they're doing the same low energy bullshit she's doing.
Yep.
yeah.
You understand what
You
I'm
can
saying?
you can see the environment that spawned him. There's a reason why he is the way he is. There's a
Yeah.
reason why he felt comfortable enough. Now, mind you, the girlfriend was indeed hyping it up, but
Hmm.
there's a reason why he was even why he felt comfortable enough to go ahead and put hands on her like that, especially over the reason why he did it. There's a reason why he sought out a woman to be with who was going to go ahead and hype up some nonsense like that. That's his environment. So to
Yep.
him, that makes sense. To him, that's normal. Like the saying goes, what's normal for the spider is chaos for the fly. To the rest of us people that are halfway functional, this is outlandish. This is insane. But for
Yeah.
him, he's doing big boy things. Um, but just looking at that, I mean, this is supposedly the man that you love and that you care for. He's dead on account, and you played a contributing factor in the situation. Hell, you know, and here you are at a funeral or at a cardboard cutout, supposed to be a memorial of him, and your default response, what you think is appropriate, is to bend over and put your ass on his cardboard, um, in true hood roach fashion.
There you go.
Uh, I mean,
No words.
this
No
is the story
words.
right now. But remember, the fact that she can look all cool and calm and relaxed like that. Remember what we talked about before? Proxy violence.
Yep.
Mm,
A lot of these women going ahead and gas some of these men to go ahead and commit violent acts on their behalf, and
Hmm.
when they get arrested or when it ends up in their death, they're able to go on to their life and just keep on living. I bet you sure already got his replacement a week or two out removed from now. As soon as the funeral's over, if she even waits that long,
Yeah.
you're right, slap in the cut.
yeah.
Hmm.
So, just like that brother said in the last screenshot, brothers, we have to be mindful first and foremost. Um, if anyone can hype you up to do what this jackass did, then you already have some pre-existing issues. But fellas,
Mm,
be mindful of the woman that you have in your arm. It doesn't matter if it's your wife, your fiance. It doesn't matter if it's a chick that you're just dealing with for this weekend.
mm,
Be mindful of the people in your camp, especially those that you share intimate space and time with like that. Don't
mm,
let these heifers that have nothing good for you, they have no good intentions, they see you as disposable, whether it's because they want to spend your resources, whether it's because they want to use your emotional labor, they want to go ahead and send you out to be their personal private gladiator. Establish boundaries. Think for
Real talk.
yourself. Don't let some vagina or some sex or mouth or whatever the case may be get you so wound up. Don't let fear of loneliness or being by yourself. Don't let that push you into going ahead and making proverbial deals with the devil and aligning yourself with people that have no business being in your camp, in your circle.
mm.
Nobody should have that kind of access to you that's going to push you to do what this woman did.
Correct.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
definitely. So yeah, that's something that, we have to look at and say to ourselves, you gotta hold yourself accountable because you now put yourself in a position where somebody has to forgive you based on the way you conducted yourself. And in this case was the woman that egged somebody on for them to lose their life. Like Bobby was saying, you have two types of women, a woman that can build you and a woman that can destroy you. Who you choose is on you.
Real
And
talk.
who you choose will dictate the outcome of your livelihood. So it's very important. Like the purpose of manifestations is to make better men. Making better men means making better choices. And selecting your mate is going to be one of the biggest choices you make in your life, you know, and a very valuable investment as well. So I definitely wanted to point that out. Also, I want to show you guys a video. So we're going to definitely go on to something that was trendy this week, right? So our trendy topic is I saw this, it kind of put me in a little damper of a mood because what we was talking about earlier is that we need you guys to be safe. We have to understand that your safety, your livelihood is very important. Not only important to society, but it's also important to your family and your significant other. Understand that we all have a job to do. We all have a job to do. We go to a job, we work for somebody, right? And if you're not working for somebody, you have employees that work for you. As a employee, you have to be mindful and you have to let people know when something is wrong or you feel like, hey, I got to take myself up out of here because I feel myself is being pushed to a limit that could end up being fateful. Uh, very not faithful, but very fatal
Mhm.
towards what um, towards my family and also towards this company. But I have to do it to protect myself and my family because the company will literally run you in the ground if you allow them to do that. And the minute that you pass away is the minute they have your replacement already on deck. Never go all the way out for a company because they will always have somebody else. Take that time out and say, hey, you know what? I'm not coming in today. Don't feel too good. I don't want to push it. Hey, I'll check you guys the next day. That's fine. You know your body. I don't care if it's your job. I don't care if you're talking to your doctor. I don't care what it is. Even your friends will try to get you to do some things that you might not be comfortable with. Be vocal. Be a person to stop that dead in the tracks. You know your body. All right. So with that being said, we live down here in Florida. All of us live here in Florida. Florida has some sweltering heat lately. I don't know if you guys felt the heat, but this heat is something serious and something different. This heat, anytime I go drive the trucks, this is what the heat does to me. This
You're
is
not
how
wrong.
I
You're
feel
not wrong.
like this.
Oh shit!
I feel
Hilarious.
like this every time I walk outside the house with that type of heat.
I hear
You're
you.
And
not.
the reason why I said that, and I say this, is because
Thing
if
is
you're
wrong,
not,
or you
if you,
feel like
huh?
no, no, no.
Oh, okay. I feel like this, right? This is very important. That so I want people to understand. This is might be triggering to some people, but what you're about to hear is very heartbroken. So a heartwarming text right before this mail carrier pass away from the heat. And he knew something wasn't right. And he just kept going because if you know any postal workers, I know several postal workers, and you're on you have to finish your route. That's the thing. You got to finish your route. You're based on finishing your route.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those routes can be hectic, especially now through the pandemic, where a lot of these postal carriers also have a lot of packages as well, because people are ordering more offline than they're going to the stores. So their routes are pretty much extended, and they have spent a little bit more time on their routes. So you could be on your route 8, 10, 12 hours for the day, and you're in the sweltering heat. You're constantly in and out the little small truck. I don't think those trucks carry AC like that. They might, the newer ones might. I think I've seen a couple newer ones, but for
Possibly.
what I've seen is the old ones had the windows down for majority of the time. So that heat is something so serious. So definitely want to play this video and show you guys why it's important to take heed when your body is telling you something. Mhm.
Postal worker who died in the sweltering Texas heat wave sent his wife haunting text messages the day he collapsed and died. Can you read the text to me?
Morning, sweetheart. Love you. Have a wonderful day. Good morning, baby. Love you. It's 88 degrees outside. Be careful going out.
Those texts came in at 6:48 in the morning. It was the last time his wife would communicate with her husband. Just after 4, she got the call that he'd been rushed to the hospital. The temperature had reached a blazing 115 degrees. This Ring camera video shows 66-year-old Eugene Gates Jr. weighed down with mail in the midst of the extreme heat alert. You got a call alerting you to what was happening to your husband.
I never would have thought that I'd get a call from his supervisor telling me that I needed to go to the hospital because my husband passed out.
Carla Gates says her husband had been a dedicated postal worker.
Dedicated postal work for 36 years.
Oh,
Sometimes you gotta know when to just say, hey, enough is enough. I'm done for the day. Come back the next day. You already worked up so much time. You have a rapport with your company. Know when to pull the plug. But I think so much of the psychologicalness of Black men is that we can't be seen as weak in front of our mate, in front of our family, in front of our friends, and especially in front of our job, our boss. And we take pride in that. And sometimes that extra pride ends up being a grave spot for us. I've seen it countless times. And I just want our brothers to understand, like, you're valuable. If you feel like, things aren't going too right, your body doesn't line up, take the time off. Say, hey, I can't finish my route, not feeling too good. Call your supervisor, let somebody come out and finish your route, or they'll take your stuff and then they'll have somebody finish it. I think they'll bring somebody else and have 2 people divide the route up so they can finish it for the day, or they can just take the stuff and then tomorrow they just divide it into 2 people's routes, and then they finish it tomorrow and make sure those mails that didn't get put out that day are the first ones to go on the route tomorrow. So they be the first ones to hit the house because they didn't go out the day before. So yes, let the employees do their job, man. This is what, everything runs like a machine. Everything has an operational system. They understand you're human, then you're not robots. Things happen. But it's so unfortunate because you could tell the love that they have through each other, through the text messages, and even through how she was expressing herself through her emotions after finding out that her husband passed away. It's just so heartfelt. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you may find that one love in your lifetime. Some people go a whole lifetime and not find that. But to find that and then have lose your mate based on, the heat, a heat wave, and they tell you all the time, they put out the warnings that be extra hydrated because the heat is just ridiculous. So just to see that happen, it's just so very unfortunate. But I wanted to play that because I want people to see that there is part of it where you just need to let people know that I'm not as strong as you think I am today, and that's fine. And that shouldn't put a kink in your armor, or it shouldn't put a kink in your image that men are strong enough to handle it. It's fine. It's okay to say, okay, I'm not feeling it today. That's fine with me, and live to see another day. I just
Well
wanted to share
said. Well said, brother. That is heartbreaking. Heart goes out to that family. Prayers and blessings to you, to that sister. Wow. What jumps out to me about that whole situation and the capacity of forgiveness
that. Mhm.
is, I would hope, and it seems like in this situation, everything is good, right?
Mhm.
But what bothers me about that is that I know that there are people that have petty things that they allow to come between them. And on the other side of these petty things that you've allowed to come between you, something like that could occur. Can you imagine if there was something that happened, they had a petty argument, and either one of them hadn't forgiven the other one for what went
Mm.
down, and then the next day something like that happened?
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the first place that my mind goes to when I see stuff like that. God
Right.
bless them. This brother, this sister seemed like they were in sync. They loved each other very passionately. If they had an argument, I'm sure, like me and my wife, 5 minutes after whatever they were arguing about, they laugh about it, and they're kissing on the couch somewhere. You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah.
type of couple and the type of vibe that comes off as to me. But
Yeah.
a lot of us, we have these little petty grudges over small, insignificant things. Or even if they're not insignificant things, they're not significant enough to
Right.
hold on to and allow a wedge to exist between you and your significant other. Oh my God. And something terrible happens. There's a young lady I know who, some years ago, she was in, argument with her boyfriend. And I mean, they were hot with each other. She told him some really foul things, you know, and, you know, later on that night, he got hit by a truck and died.
Yeah.
They never had a
Yeah.
chance to speak again. You understand what
Exactly.
I'm saying? It happened. I've seen it happen. Great dude, by the way. We were
Mm.
all rooting for the guy. You know what I mean? Because we knew
Yeah.
the girl, and it's like, okay, she'd been through XYZ, bad relationships, blah, blah, blah. But this was a good, solid dude. You understand? And I mean, they got into it. It was some bullshit, the argument that they had. And even her
Mm.
friends were telling her, yo, you need to call him now. Don't, let him just drive off like that. Da da da. Got in an accident on the way home, and he was killed instantly.
Yeah.
So, we gotta be very careful about when we don't forgive,
Exactly.
and what may be on the other side of us not coming to our loved ones in the spirit of forgiveness. I'm really, most of the time, when it comes to loved ones, your wife, your family, not your bullshit family, but your family that's, they on the up and up, but y'all just have a little falling out, whatever. You got some family that, they hate you as much as, any hater on the internet, you know what I mean? But some family, they're really solid, with solid people with good intentions, whatever the case may be. I'm all for forgiveness. I think it's something that we absolutely should have in the forefront of how we move,
Yeah.
like in that case, or, in the case of lovers or whatever the case may be. But, even with your mom, I know some people out there right now, they're not on speaking terms with their mothers.
Yeah.
The mothers are in old age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you listen, I'm talking to you. There's some people out there right now that are not on speaking terms with their brothers, with their cousins, people that they used to rock with heavy over something foolish. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
just a misunderstanding. It's not even anything real. Somebody lied.
Correct.
And you got the story the way that the story didn't happen. And you holding this. You know what I mean? So I would just like to encourage in the spirit of, forgiveness, true forgiveness, from people who come to you in good faith. I would like to encourage, more of that type of forgiveness and letting go of at least letting go of petty grudges. That's that we have a serious problem with that as a people,
Well,
as a collective. You dig?
Correct.
So yeah.
Yes.
What,
That's a great
when
point.
it comes to our loved ones, the people that are actually close to us, our good friends and our relatives, and again, not necessarily speaking on things of major significance or of elevated, like a real legitimate betrayal or violation, but like you said, the small petty stuff. Um, and again, a lot of that is bad habits. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of that's the fact that, and it's actually funny because I've actually seen the need for this kind of reinforced in the wake of the whole situation um, with that sister and the son and that knucklehead up there in Chicago. But there's not nearly enough education and training and enforcement, not in the homes, not in the schools, where conflict resolution is involved. Simply when someone does or says something that we don't like, it becomes an opportunity for us to just go ahead and hold on to it again, doing the whole petty grudge thing, as if we're trying to get back at somebody. Well, I'm not going to talk to you because I want you to feel bad, or I want to go ahead and make you pay for it, or what have you. Um, if these are people that you love, if it's your wife, your husband, your girlfriend or boyfriend, if it's your mother, your father, your child, or what have you, your best friend, your good friend, or even if it's a real close, real cool coworker, I'll even go that far with it. Um, Again, the whole idea of I'm going to pick up this boiling hot ass coal that's burning and melting and singeing the skin off my hand so I can throw it at you. What are you really doing?
Real talk.
Is it that deep? If it's a petty grievance, and I'm sure in most cases a lot of these things will be looked at and it could be agreed, yeah, this is petty, this isn't what's holding on. Why are you doing that? Why is your and I'll go a little deep with it. What dysfunctional training, what insecurity do you have inside you that makes you go ahead and take something so minor? Because again, if you're put in a situation where you knew this person was about to die, you had 5 minutes to talk to them, you know that this would be the thing that you'd apologize for. I'm sorry, it wasn't big. You know it's minor. What is it that's going on inside you that makes you feel like you need to do this so you can feel good? That,
Exactly.
that there's something underlying there. That's not minor.
That's the
We're not,
question. Hmm.
again, we're not talking about penalizing strangers or people you have no connection to. These are people that you love, who love you, who I'm sure you've probably been through some things with, and yet you want to go ahead and nickel and dime them on some BS. You need to take a look at that. That's a sign of something else going on there. I can guarantee you, if you can get someone that can peel back the layers, you're gonna find some stuff that needs some sorting out. Um, but again, it's the act of taking for granted that there's always going to be time, or I can hold a grudge on this person and all the time to say I'm sorry if I remember what have you. But time isn't promised to anyone, man.
Yeah.
We
Real
can't
talk.
swear for a second what's gonna happen. You have people that literally drop it down dead in their houses without warning.
Yes,
I
you do.
remember I heard several years ago. I can't remember who it was, but I was told about there was a brother who was 30, early 30s at the time. Literally, he went to bed one night and he did not wake up in his 30s. And there wasn't
Wow.
anything that was necessarily overly wrong with him or anything, nothing that you can really put a point a finger to. just went to bed and did not wake up.
Yeah.
All business that he had or pertained to him unfinished at this point. So really get to a point where you start making a habit of saying, you know what? I love you. I care about you. You're my whatever you are to me. You're important to me. I cherish you. You're valuable to me. This little BS that we're fighting over, it doesn't mean more than the relationship. I would say the only time you should hold on to those kind of grudges if you're going to do that is if this is the end of the line. You know, we have come as far as we can. We entered the year with each other. We're not going to exit the year with each other. If this is a case where the bridge is going to be burned, then go ahead and do it. But if you know this is a person who you still care for, you want them to be in your life and you in theirs, you know you're trying to go beyond tomorrow with each other, dead that shit, man.
Real
It
talk.
has to get to the point where it's not a you versus me thing. It's us versus life, us versus the world.
Yeah.
So go ahead and there's a lot of marriages that can't go the distance because it's nonsense. Because every time there's a disagreement or something, it becomes a well, I got to get a point on you. You got one on me last time. I got to make up. Nah, man, y'all ain't gonna work. You
Gotta
can't
get
work.
their lick back. That's that lick back shit.
I think we talked about that too before
We
briefly.
did. Yes.
So again, this is definitely a case where that spirit of forgiveness needs to come in. And like any other muscle, forgiveness is a muscle. The more you use it, the easier it gets, the stronger it becomes. But if you're not a forgiving person, then you can't expect to be able to readily turn it on, even for someone that means the world to you.
Yeah.
There's people who've lost good marriages, there's people who've alienated their relatives, or they've been
Mhm.
alienated simply because the other person did not know how to forgive. If they could have apologized, if they could take it back, they would, but they don't know how because they never had to do it. Well, they have so little experience.
Mm-hmm.
So be mindful, even if you're not going to be a person that goes around on a forgiveness world tour, you need to at least be good enough at it so that you can implement it and use it to maintain the relationship that you have. Because nobody's perfect. We all have and all are going to mess up and make mistakes. We're going to say the wrong thing. We're going to do the wrong thing. And others are going to do the same to us.
Real
So the
talk.
same way we want people to forgive us, to go ahead and be able to move past it, we've got to be willing to do the same thing. It can't be a one-way street.
Agreed. Real talk.
Yep.
You ain't told no lie, brother. That's real.
It's
That's real.
adulthood, man. We got to get with it.
Mm-hmm. We got a ways to go too, man. We got
Oh,
a
yeah.
ways to go.
And that's good.
Got a
Whether you
ways to go.
running, jogging, you briskly walking, or you crawling, as long as you making the effort, you putting in the work, that's okay. But again, stagnance is death. If you ain't growing, you're dying.
You're
You
dying.
got to
Real
be
talk.
growing.
Definitely.
There's an eloquent Negro poet by the name of Bobby Drake that said that. You dig? So I just want to shout that brother out right quick. Oh, Bobby, that's you. Oh, what's up, bro? I ain't even see you there. What's happening?
This
That's
My
definitely,
God.
definitely a great segue into our next topic, which is hell no or hell yeah.
Let's get it.
Let's
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
All right. So
Really?
we didn't do it last week because we definitely it was a good list, and I didn't want to shortchange you last week. So we definitely got it this week for you.
Let's get
All
it.
right.
Yay.
Here we go. All right. First up, 50 Cent. Hell yeah.
Hell
I do
yeah.
50 Cent. Yeah, I like 50
Hell
Cent.
yeah. Woo.
Hell yeah. I've
My
really
God.
come the last year or so, I'd say, I've really come to an appreciation of 50 Cent. That really is a wise,
Yeah.
Wise brother.
intelligent brother. I've been listening to some little clips from some interviews and stuff where people telling some stories or whatever. First off, I really believe that this brother needs to be a narrator.
Yeah.
We need a whole bunch of movies where dude is just narrating in the background.
Yeah.
Points
Yeah.
to the way he expresses himself. I think we finally found the person that can take the torch for Morgan Freeman. We finally got him. I didn't know if I was gonna have a gap, but it looks like we can pass the torch in Morgan's life. I love that for him. But
There
that
it is.
brother's sound, he's got a very savvy street mind, a very savvy business mind. very good at reading people, very good at analysis. That's an intelligent brother, and all the pettiness aside, that's not your thing. But
Yeah.
if you listen to Curtis when he's just being straight up, just being frank.
Yeah.
You'll learn a lot listening to that brother.
Man.
Big hell yeah.
And that's why I
This
say a lot of people don't understand. I don't look down on street dudes because a lot of street dudes that get the opportunity end up being successful because they take the street knowledge and apply it with the game that they get from people that's not on the street, and they mix and infuse the two together, and they become powerful. You got the 50 Cent, you got the Jada Kiss, you have Nas, and you have Jay-Z. These are street guys that end up converting over and end up being very successful. Nas and his investments, Jay-Z and his investments,
no doubt.
Jada Kiss and their investments, and 50 Cent and his investments. So, also Freeway Ricky Rose, he was a dope dude coming from off the streets and converting over to the other side. So yeah, you got to understand the intelligence behind these brothers, and just to see 50 Cent. So I definitely give much props to 50 Cent, and a lot of people don't understand 50 Cent's character, where he trolls people and do that, is just another strategic way for him to gain the attention. But behind the scenes, he's very intelligent and very compassionate. So don't get it fooled and twisted that he just sits here and rags on people and do things to people, when actually he helps a lot of people gain money behind the scenes.
Oh
So
yeah.
just wanted to point that out.
That's another reason I like that brother. He's helped so many brothers get on.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
definitely. All right, so next up is Summer Walker. No,
Hell no.
no, I'm not.
Hell no.
Not at all.
Hell no. No.
Bobby, like he about to risk it all. You hell yeah?
Hell no.
Let me,
Just nothing about this woman I find appealing. Nothing.
let me make sure this microphone's on. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. That is no.
All right, next up is Thundercat.
We didn't get yours, man.
Oh, I said hell no. I was the first one to say hell no.
Okay.
That's why I asked Bobby, because me and you said hell no. Bobby was quiet, so I thought Bobby was gonna
So
risk
Bobby
it
was
all.
gonna conform.
Yeah, I think he was gonna go inbox Little Meat should be like, hey man, I'm finna UFC fight you over this girl. Come on, let's get it.
Fight.
Oh, shit.
Fight.
All right, Thundercats. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I fucks with Thundercats.
Oh man, that was my shit. That was my shit.
Yeah, I like
I still watch Thundercats.
Yeah, Panther is my dude.
Absolutely.
Lionel was my guy. In fact, I'm gonna get the replica of the sword. Watch.
Okay.
Okay. It's going down.
Yeah, I like
And biggest
Panther.
my man Mumra. Mumra is such a G. Only time he got busy with, bro. When y'all piss my man off, got him out of sleep. Man, gotta get up. Man, hold on. Let me put
Man, I like when he transformed the whole fucking son. When this dude transformed, more.
We actually got it.
Yeah, bro.
We got an inside joke in the office right now when there's a certain person that we work with that's always screwing stuff up.
Yeah.
But he's in charge of something that we typically need him for. So anytime something goes wrong, we always go ancient spirits of this and they go over here. So good times. Thundercats, man.
I can't wait till they bring the movie to the theater. I think
they better not mess that movie up. Bruh,
yeah,
I'm telling you.
Making it a Thundercats movie.
I'll go spray the set. Boy, you better get that movie right. Hey, what?
All right, next up is Karuchi. No.
Hell no. Hell no.
She still exists?
Yeah, she's doing acting now. She's doing a little
I'm dead serious. That's a name I haven't heard in forever.
Woo! Yeah, she's doing.
I had to dust off one of the lobes for a second to try and recall that.
Man,
Wow.
She
Okay.
said some slick. Ever since she said some slick shit about Blue Ivy's hair, and Blue Ivy was like 3.
Yeah.
Sit your goofy ass down. Like, yo, I ain't got
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
patience for her monkey ass.
All right, next up is Wale. Wale,
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
I fucks with
Hell yeah.
Wale.
Wale's a lyricist, bro.
Yeah. I fucks with
Hell
Wale.
yeah.
And Ambition is one of my favorite tracks that I like to be motivated off of. I think it's one of the dopest tracks.
Oh, yeah.
Matrimony. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Both
Matrimony
Hold
is
up.
a
of
good
those,
one.
both of those albums, Ambition was fantastic.
Yeah,
That whole little Seinfeld theme type album, very
yeah,
dope. Probably one of the most unique concepts
yeah,
that year. Very out there.
yeah,
Definitely one of those things where someone were to proposition you with it, you'd be like, "Get this nonsense out of here!" But
yeah,
great execution. Wale is very much an artist. I know that's become like a
yeah,
general catch-all phrase and stuff. You can be, literally mass produce like some Barbie and Ken stuff from a whole
Yeah.
bunch of whatever, and they call you an artist. But Wale, at his core and his being, he's always has been from day one an artist. He's never shied away from that. I've always
Real
loved and
talk.
respected him. He can hang with the street verses. He comes through with the conscious poetry, with the deep thoughts and everything. Very versatile, very underrated, very underrepresented. Big ups to
He
the brother.
slept on. He
yeah,
slept on.
definitely.
Mm.
All right, next up is Damian Marley. Yeah, I fucks with Damian.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
That's my
Yeah,
favorite reggae artist.
yes, I fucks with
definitely
Damian.
my
That
top.
boy's a fool.
I still love
Go,
distant relatives,
bro.
man.
You still love what?
Things get
Still
shot.
love distant relatives. That was another really
Oh
very,
man.
smash over.
Masterpiece. My head just exploded. You heard Distant Relatives, Ant?
Yeah,
That shit was
When that
amazing.
dropped, it was the collaboration I didn't know I needed.
Man. Stupid.
definitely. Next up is New England Patriots. No, I
Hell
don't like
no.
that. Nah,
They
I'm a
cheating
Dolphin fan.
ass.
I'm a
No.
Dolphin fan, man.
Nope.
Can't do that.
That's a nope. That's a nope to Bill Devilchick. That's a nope to Tamara Brady.
Real talk.
Next one up is your favorite. I think this is one of you guys' family member, Clarence Thomas.
Ah!
Oh, we got jokes and we got
Oh,
slang.
man, swinging, boy.
Say that. All right. So you on that type of time tonight? All right.
Hell no, that Sambo ass nigga. Oh God.
I can
Listen,
hear him foot shuffling all the way up in DC right now, boy.
boy, listen. That's the biggest Sambo on earth.
Yeah, that's a hell dog.
My God, hell no. Hell no.
He is top 2, and he ain't the 2.
They dig, boy.
Definitely. All right, next up is cheddar and sour cream ruffles. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
They fire.
Hell yeah. Boy. Them shits is addictive.
Food. One of the elite choices. You gotta eat some garbage. You can't go wrong with that. That right there is that top level right there, boy.
That's an elite chip, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
That's an elite chip.
It's definitely a fan favorite for sandwiches or hot dogs. That's the go-to package.
Mm-hmm.
You did?
Next up is Vans. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
Hell no.
You don't
Hell
fuck with
no.
Vans?
Hell no. Never. Not a chance.
Yeah,
got my Vans on for the lit light sneakers. What?
Nah.
My Vans right here.
Wearing Coke.
This guy's going to go get his Vans.
I got my Vans right here.
Nah, bro.
Yeah,
I
that's my
love
Vans.
Vans, but I got like 2 or 3. Matter of fact, I need to get another pair right now. Got like 2 or 3.
Yeah, man, Vans all day, baby. Vans.
Can't do it. But all right.
Yes, that's smoking. Smoking.
All right.
All right. Next up is false eyelashes. Hell no.
Hell no. Dude, listen.
Hell no.
It's 2 things that I wish women would just stop altogether, bro. That shit right there, what you just said is top 2 and I ain't number 2. That's it right there. And the other one is the when they tattoo the eyebrows on.
Oh
Bruh,
yeah.
just stop. Just stop.
I'm fortunate enough to not really. I haven't messed with women that wear that.
Me
I
neither.
don't know. It just
Me
Same.
neither, but I see it
they
all over the place.
gravitate to me. Yeah, they
That's a straight
gravitate
up
to me. I
revelation.
gravitate to them, but no, I don't have
Mm-mm.
that type of problem.
Yeah,
Nah,
it's bad,
I,
bro.
I wish I could go back in time right at the moment where those things being invented, so I could slap out the person's hand and just ruin the whole experiment.
Uh-huh.
Can never get that mojo back again. They just lost for all time.
All right,
Bruh.
so we just talked about y'all cousin, one of y'all cousins, and now this is one of y'all aunties, Gabrielle Union.
Oh, hell no. Oh,
Hell,
God.
Oh
Oh,
man,
you look up the
did,
word toxic in the dictionary. My God.
did somebody take a nice long leak in your frosted flakes this morning, bro? You just stoned bomb.
yeah.
We're friends.
Yeah.
We're allies. What's
Oh,
going on?
and it's
Well,
just like, yo, she don't have
but
no redeeming values. Like, she's average looking. She can't act. She toxic as hell. Like, bruh, just stop.
too
When she
masculine.
Woo.
Too
fades to
masculine.
obscurity for good, that's gonna be a glorious day, man. It's gonna be
Oh, my
wonderful.
God.
Yeah, that's too. She's just too masculine because any woman that would glorify paying half the bills with their man in public, and then going after the women for it because I felt like that's something you didn't need to say that
She
but
wasn't
it just
glorifying that. She was being slick.
no, but
She
Hmm.
was being slick.
she was doing it in a way where she wanted to show that she holds her weight because most women that are very masculine want to act like a man. They in the relationship they dick challenge, right?
Hmm.
They swinging sticks. So
Yeah.
she wants to
They
show
want a
like,
sword
hey,
fight.
yeah, sword fight. So she
Well,
wants to show like, yo, I can hold my
uh,
weight. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't need. There was no need
well,
for her to say that.
as I understood it, based on what she said, it was actually a response to Dwayne Wade. Now, bear in mind the dynamics of their relationship and
Mm.
he being the perpetual eunuch and however, you know, it doesn't matter how much of a eunuch a man might be. At the end of the day, a man is still a man, and even when everything about him says otherwise and he operates otherwise, sometimes that sunken place you kicks out, and something comes out that is not part of your normal personality. According to her, one time they had a conversation. I'm guessing it was an argument based on the way she describes it and how she responds to it. But he basically said something when they first started, either when they were dating, or when they first married. But his response to something that was being said was, at the end of the day, this is my house, because the house that he owned. And so she said that shocked her when she heard that, as if to say, well, this is my house. Oh, you don't have any presence here. So she said ever since then, she split the bills because she was never going to have a man tell her again that this belongs to him. And essentially, I don't have any rights there, or whatever the case may be.
Mm.
So again,
Mm.
her making the effort to try and show she's the dude that I got a dick too. I can pee longer than you. It stands up longer than yours. All this nonsense, whatever. She did that, and now here she is years later complaining. I wish it wasn't like this. He makes way more than me. He should be paying all the bills and everything else. But
Yeah.
she had to stand and eat on that.
Yeah.
So it's not like he
Yeah.
told her you have to do all this because I'm
Yeah.
guessing she do all that.
Exactly.
She made the decision, well, this is what I'm going to do because I don't like it when you go ahead and, check me.
Yeah.
So because you want to show, well, I'm strong, independent, I do what I want, you don't run me or whatever. Okay, well, now you get to be a boss too. And she got buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
Listen,
Exactly.
I'm all in agreement that she's very masculine, whatever the case may be, but I do not feel in any capacity that she made that statement to say that she holds her own. I think it was exactly the opposite because look at what she said after it. I'm going to read it. I struggle after she said that, I don't know what it feels like to say that I'm the head of the household because in this household, we split everything 50-50. Listen to that. it's weird to say that I'm head of household. She's already shitting on this dude. It's weird to say that I'm head of household because in this household, we split everything 50-50. Then she goes on to say, I struggle with that still. I still think I have more responsibilities for my money. I get nervous like, oh God, that movie didn't open. You know, what does that mean? Am I going to have enough money to hold everybody up? She is taking a direct shot at this nigga. She's
Oh
calling
yeah.
him out. She
What
Yeah,
said that
this
to diss that man.
like she,
this is
like she
it's
don't
a
believe it.
classic manipulation tactic that
Exactly.
and it happens on a lesser level because obviously if you're a regular average Joe you don't have the public eye like that, but it happens on a local level around your circle of friends, your neighborhood, whatever. But basically, she's trying to. I would imagine she's trying to get the dynamics to change because she wants a change in that regard.
Precisely.
So she's trying to get the public to shame him and to say, well, that's terrible. Dwayne Wade makes so much more money than her. Why doesn't he be a real man and
Uh-huh.
go and to basically put that pressure on him to get the kowtow? And
Exactly. Because at the
that
end of
happens.
the day, yeah, these women that are with these beta males, they can't stand these niggas. Let's just call it what it is. You
They
understand
hate
what I'm
him.
saying? And every now and again, shout out Aisha Curry and Sierra, every now and again, that disdain that they have for this weak beta male that allows them to walk all over them rears this ugly head. That's exactly what that was. Oh, my bad. I forgot Jada Pinkett Smith. I'm just saying.
So
Alright.
these women are
So
so busy trying to be the men that they would like their significant other to be. Meanwhile, their significant
Uh-huh.
others behave the way they wish they could be. So it's a natural resentment. She's trying to lead. They're trying to lead him into how he should be in the household, but it don't work that way.
Shit
It's it's
crazy.
it's, it's a
exactly.
dance. Both people can't be leading the dance. Somebody got to take the lead. So if you lead, other person gonna fall back.
How many
Alright.
steering wheels a car have? Go ahead, Ant.
Alright. It has two if you're in driver's ed. But next up is New Balance.
I knew you were gonna say something like,
Hell no.
Hell no. I don't
Hell
fuck
no for New Balance too. Hell
with
no.
no. I'm good off
Can't
that.
do it. Bobby's on the fence.
Bobby,
Are
you
you a
got
New
New
Balance kind of guy?
I haven't owned a pair, but I've worn a pair, but I haven't owned a pair. But I respect New Balance. I respect the culture. I
All right.
personally, I think New Balance was the not all of them, but for the most part, New Balance was the quote unquote dad shoe before we started getting all out into the weeds now with these Balenciaga joints and stuff that look all fugly, whatever. But New Balance was the last time I'd say we had the respectable um, dad style shoe, where the dad sneaker.
The Bob Saget sneaker. Okay. Got
Alright.
you.
Next up is Grandmaster J. Yes, shout out to Grandmaster J.
No.
No?
No.
Why?
No.
Why? What's going on with
Hell
Grandmaster J?
no. I didn't say Jam Master J. I said
Oh, okay.
Grandmaster
Grandmaster
J.
J. Okay, I'm thinking Jam Master J.
Oh,
Okay.
Hell no.
Grandmaster J.
Hell
hell
Is
no.
that
no.
is that is that part of the Bombada crew?
No,
No, no,
man.
that
No,
was the
man.
leader.
That's
That's the NFC, the not
the
fucking around.
NFAC. He's the quote so-called leader, aka agent
The,
of
sup-
the
the supposed
not fucking around coalition.
Oh, you talking about that dude? Oh man,
the, the
Yes.
supposed
why do
the
we call
supposed
him
second
Grandmaster
coming of the
J though?
That's
What's
what he
going on?
calls himself.
ask him,
Come on,
ask
man.
him,
That's his
All right.
name.
No,
Rand
hell no,
ask
not
J.
that. No, that dude's an agent. He's an informant, allegedly. And I don't
Okay.
know.
There you go.
No, I don't even
You,
want to talk
you
about
tend
this
to
man.
you
Let's
tend all
move
the
on.
same meaning as Sharp
All
does.
right, next move is Holly Berry. Holly Berry, no.
Haley Berry, man.
Oh, Haley
Haley
Berry.
Berry. Bailey.
Haley Bailey.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I fucks with Haley because she's doing more positive things than her sister.
Haley Bailey is dope. You got me saying Haley Berry. Haley
Yeah.
Bailey is dope, bro.
Yeah. She's on some, that's the Little Mermaid star actress.
She definitely popping out here.
Yeah. She's definitely I can fucks with her. All right. Next up is Snapple. Hell yeah. Y'all don't
Hell
fuck
no.
with Snapple? No?
Hell no.
Oh
Hell
man.
no.
Hey,
Can't do it.
if
Wait,
you see
does
me,
this
just give me a
does this
case
include the
of the
lemon?
Snapple apple. I love me a
Bruh,
Snapple apple. I'm good.
read the ingredients. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I heard
I
about Snapple.
know,
Read
but the
the
peach,
ingredients.
the
Bruh,
I
peach.
know.
that peach tea, I had the peach tea in my refrigerator, right? We was
Yeah.
reading the ingredients. My wife was like, this shit is literally 75% sugar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, shit, yo, it's like 59 grams of sugar or something like that. Bruh,
Yeah.
it's
And it's
Yeah.
gonna have
insane.
I know. I like the Snapple. I knew about it. When we grew up, we heard about Snapple being ran by the KKK, Ku Klux Klan, and all that
Oh, I didn't
growing
know
up.
that.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know that.
That was always something growing when we were growing up. They always told us that type of stuff. Yeah,
and
but when I started working with Dr. Pepper Snapple, 7 Up, we was taking some of that stuff home for free. And the
Mm.
only one that I used to like was the Snapple apple, man. It was just, I don't know, it reminded me of the apple that's in Jamaica. So I was just keen to that, but it's all good.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah, I'll say hell nah with an example of Snapple apple. All
hell
right.
no with the peach tea because
All
they got me,
right,
bro.
next up is Brother Polite. Fuck no.
Hell
Fuck no.
no.
I'm not even gonna
Hell
say
no.
hell no.
Who's
Fuck
that?
no.
Brother
Brother
Polite,
Polite.
man. The dude who used to roll with
Another
Sarnetta.
name that y'all, there's another name y'all got dust off. Ooh, no,
Nah.
man.
Oh
I've
I
man.
knew that dude was funny. I really didn't like the Brother Polite when he first came out. I
Yeah.
knew something was up with him, and then he had this allegation where he was screwing his girlfriend's daughter, which was 14 years old, and now he went to jail because he took the plea. So you're
They
not gonna
found
take plea.
semen. It's
Yeah,
not an
you're not gonna.
allegation. They found semen.
No,
Come on,
no,
bro.
I didn't say it was allegation.
Uh-huh.
I just said he took the plea because they really didn't put it out there. They just made it seem like he just took the plea, but you're not going to take a plea if you know you're innocent. So once he took the plea, I already knew he was guilty, regardless of what they found. I already knew he was guilty. Point blank.
Real talk.
But
Real talk.
In some cases they put
you can't talk about building the community and backhandedly destroying it at the same time. That's very
You can't.
hypocritical.
That makes
Very
no sense,
hypocritical.
bro.
and dude habitually, as black as he was always talking, he out here sleeping white and everything else.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
not on no sometime BS nonsense, but from day one, like when I first heard the name Brother Polite and whatever, people talking, oh, Brother Polite, this, that, and the third. Dude never, 100%, he never resonated with me. Never.
Yeah.
I listened to him talk, and dude just gave me all the wrong signs. He sounded to me like them old school cats that used to be selling all kind of wolf tickets and all kind of con game shit or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
he's very charismatic, very smooth about it. He was good
Mhm.
with it. But from day one, once I heard him listen to 5 minutes of what he had to say, I'm like, nah, he ain't it.
Bro. I don't know
So
how
all
he
the
got such a following.
Well, I mean, people gravitate towards what they feel is knowledge at that time. He came up in the era of the Dr. Umar and what's the little dude that looked like gosh, the dude that looked like oh gosh, I forgot that little dude. He was very popular on YouTube.
Young
Um
Pharaoh.
Young
oh
Pharaoh. Yeah, so
yeah,
he
I
grew
figured.
up around those eras. So those guys were out there, basically spewing knowledge. And it wasn't much people back then that was doing that. So that's how he caught wind following those people. And
He
people
also used a
gravitated
lot of
towards him.
vanity appeals too. So always
Yeah,
flashing hot cars, fine women, all kind of stuff. And I'm not one of these people that believe you're going to be doing the work of the people that you have to take like a vow of poverty, whatever. I certainly don't believe
yeah,
that. But at the same time, when you're making it that hard of a point where you flexing, where basically you look like you're doing all this play and other stuff. Because really, and I can be ignorant. If I am, someone feel free to correct me because I like to know and have a full picture. But to my knowledge, dude was never out here actually doing anything in the community or making efforts. He was writing books and stuff,
Yeah.
but nothing actually in the community being done. He's not out here. I mean, hell, say what you want to say about Umar, but for as long as he was talking about that school and people was getting on him about the school, where's the school, where's the school,
Hmm.
for better for worse, dude finally
Yeah, he
he
did.
finally pulling up, copping that building and getting that school. Now, what condition and shape it's in, I don't know, but at least he went ahead and put actionable steps to what he was talking about doing. He
Yeah.
had that goal, and despite all the criticism, rightly deserved, he went ahead and has been sticking with it, and he made something pop off. I ain't seen nothing like that from Polite. I haven't seen anything about him giving back. It's just been those little small books out there, and then he's flexing with models here, Lux cars there, whatever. Nah, man.
Yeah,
If
Yeah.
you're successful, big ups to you. Go on vacation. You can get a nice car too. That's cool. But if you're actually if this is at least a significant part of your content, you flexing. Oh, look at me how I'm living out here.
yeah,
I'm looking at you funny style.
exactly. All right. Well, next up is Run the World sitcom. No, I'm good.
Hell no.
No.
I have no
That
idea what
shit
that
ain't even watchable. It's not even watchable, bro.
Who's in there?
Damn, it's garbage. Huh?
What's that about? I can't even remember hearing about that.
It's like a 2023 girlfriends with
Yeah.
all the agendas heavily programmed and written into the script for black women to say, written by white people.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's
I'm
what
good
it is.
on
That shit is
Black
garbage.
people making puppets.
It's
not
up there
even.
with Harlem. It's
Yeah,
garbage.
it's not even worth for me to even. Hell no. I'm just switch it. All right. Zion Williams. No, I can't fuck with this.
Hell nah. I can't fuck with nobody that's stupid. I just can't. Sorry.
Zion would have
fucking
benefited greatly from
you
having a
hit
real man in his life that he could have soaked up some game and some knowledge for, because it's
Real talk.
absolute shame what this young brother is smack dab in the middle of. This don't make no damn sense. This is a
yeah,
national
that
tragedy.
you hitting a porn chick raw, and she's been banging
One
all
broad
these
on the left, strippers
white
on the right.
dudes.
I mean,
She's banging all these white dudes, and a lot of those white dudes do a lot of anal and all kind of crazy stuff. You really putting
that's
yourself out there like that.
the tame anal. That's the tame stuff.
Yeah,
It is
I'm
the
good.
same stuff.
And she doesn't even look
She
right.
was fantastic. That's all they did.
They both
Yeah.
ugly. Like, what is this nigga doing? You went through all that school to accomplish all this excellent shit to scrape at the bottom of the barrel and
I have a
wipe up
thing.
skanks.
He ugly, but he got money. He can get a woman that's of caliber
Jesus.
that looks
Oh,
real good when you got money
Multi-millionaire
like that.
athlete celebrity. He has his pick and choice for the most part of women around the planet.
Yeah.
I gotta be careful. I mean, because for the longest time I criticized brothers for apparently dealing with the same 10 to 12 chicks in the Hollywood, and dude decided he's gonna branch out and do something different. I can't knock him for doing different. I wish he would have done differently, but now I don't know because I'm not. I mean, the whole porn game, that's not my thing. But I do know when we were coming up, we had there were porn chicks that were household names as far as young men were concerned. So we knew about the Roxy Reynolds, the Cherokees,
Yeah, Cherokee.
all these different types. So I have heard someone say that maybe when he was coming up, Mariah Mills, who I'd never heard of prior to this, maybe she was one of those it chicks, and now that he's this older brother, he's an adult, he's got all his money, whatever. For him, it's like his dream. He's going after the chick that he always had a crush on. As a kid. I don't know, but I have. There's so much, even in just the mate selections. I mean, you like what you like for the most part, but even the mate selection, his ideas are weird because going based off what she's saying, I'm looking at her
Yeah.
and she looked like she auditions for all the insect cartoon movies, like A Bug's Life, and it looks like
And gets
she's
the part
dedicated
every
to this.
time.
And I don't know who's better than her. I mean, her body is just cartoonish at this point. It don't even make sense.
Ridiculous.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
Come on,
he's
man.
attracted to that, but then apparently,
Yeah.
according to her, he's telling her things like, stop wearing that blonde weave, wear your natural hair. I'm like, dude, has an ass
Yeah.
that will better be served as a pool toy or a flotation device on a cruise ship.
It's a
And
lot,
you worry
bro.
about his hair being it. There's a lot of confusion there, brother, man. Number
Oh man. All right. Last but not least, Ricky Smiley. Nah.
I fucks with
No.
Ricky Smiley. You don't rock with Rick?
Nah.
What?
Ricky fell off, man. That the church praises and all that was good.
Uh-huh.
Nah, I don't know. I don't really.
I gotta disagree with you on that one. He get a big hell yeah out of me. I like Rick.
Yeah.
His story
Yeah,
gotta give us
man.
everything I've seen about him for the most part. He seems to be a good dude. Never really heard anything troublesome out of him. No cooning or whatever. Um, there have been some things when I have heard him speak. There has been a couple things I've disagreed with him on, but for the most part, nothing that I can point out to him being a butt dancer or a sambo. And his comedy is pretty fun. He's definitely a South Florida legend.
Yeah,
His
man.
radio show presence has been really, really decent, really solid.
Yeah.
He seems one of the good ones out there. I'm gonna give him a hell yeah. Salute to brother Ricky Smiley.
I'll give him a hell yeah. I don't really have, but I just feel like he fell off a bit. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
All right.
That's fair.
All right.
Yeah.
No problem.
All right, so we are concluded with hell yeah, hell nah, and we are coming to our final segment of the night, which is Crown Check. I think this Crown Check recipient basically flows perfect with what tonight's subject is. And it is no other than
All right.
Aretha Franklin.
Riri.
All right. So Aretha Franklin has a song called Willing to Forgive that she had wrote, which is a pretty dope song. It talks about the forgiveness. In her song, it was talking about forgiving her man because he would go out and take care of another family while she was out there waiting for him to come and be with her. So it's pretty dope concept of the song. Y'all can check it out. But Aretha Franklin was born March 25th, 1942 to August 16, 2018, when she transitioned. She is an American legend, was an American songwriter, singer, and pianist. A lot of people didn't know she played the piano. She's also referred to as the Queen of Soul. I will forever look at her as the Queen of Soul, just like I look at Michael Jackson as the King of Pop. And I give that legacy to Aretha Franklin. Nobody could take that away from her, not Mary J. Nobody. This is the Queen of Soul. This is who I have. She was also named twice the greatest singer and 9th greatest artist of all time, with global sales of over 75 million records. Franklin is one of the world's best-selling music artists. Yeah, Pink Cadillac growing up, man, that was my shit. You know what I'm saying?
75 mil? I didn't know it was like that.
Oh yeah, 75 mil.
Damn.
And when you think about 75 million back then was a lot, because she could have sold a lot more, I should say, because back then they had a lot of trouble keeping stock in the stores. So when it sold out, they had to wait about a good 2-3 weeks, sometimes a month, in order for it to
back
get
order.
In back order. That also crippled the sales of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson definitely would have hit the charts where nobody would have touched him had they had enough back copies to fulfill. Because when Thriller and all that came out, it was sold out ASAP, and it was on back order for the longest. So the 75 million is a lot back
then especially. Yes,
back then, especially.
Wow.
She was a very known activist from her time growing
Yes,
up,
she was.
in a home of a prominent African American preacher to the end
Mhm.
of her life. Franklin was immense and involved in the struggling for civil rights and women's rights. She provided money for civil rights groups, at times covering payroll and performing the benefits and protests. A
Yes,
lot
she
of
did.
people didn't know when Angela Davis was jailed in 1970, Franklin told Jet, Angela Davis must go free. Black people will be free. I've been locked up for disturbing the peace in Detroit, and I know you got to disturb the peace when you can't get no peace.
Mm.
Uh, Jail is hell to be in. I'm going to see her free if there's any justice in our courts, not because I believe in communism, but because she's a Black woman and she wants freedom for Black people. Her songs Respect and You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman became anthems of these movements for social change. Franklin and several other American icons declined to take part in performing at the President Donald Trump's 2017 inauguration as a mass act of musical protest. Franklin was also a strong supporter of the Native American rights. She quietly and without fanfare supported indigenous people struggles worldwide and numerous movements that supported Native Americans and First Nation cultural rights. And what I think people don't understand, and you guys might be confused about indigenous or Native Americans that she was fighting for. She was basically talking about foundational natives, which is foundational Blacks on this land, but also
Mhm.
in foreign territories. Those were the indigenous people on their land, which all boils back to Aboriginal Black people. So
Hmm.
I don't want people to think that she was talking about Native Americans as the $5 Indians or the Red Indians. She was fighting for
Mhm.
the original Black Indians that were already here before Christopher Columbus got the false report and credentials of discovering America. When people was already here looking at him, don't know if they were ready to kill him or not, and he was too scared to come to the land, and he wrote all of what he did from offshore. So, very dope sister. Shout out to the Queen Check. Shout out to Aretha Franklin. We love you, Queen. Ashe, Ashe. And that's it. What we have for tonight. You guys want to wrap up and let everybody know?
Yeah, man. Of course. Thanks for joining us, y'all. Shout out to Sister Aretha Franklin, our elder that transitioned recently. Ryder, major player in helping facilitate, some of the civil rights movements and marches and so forth that we all know and love, and we all came to uh understand and appreciate it. They gave us some of the freedoms that we enjoy today. Aretha Franklin, Harry Belafonte, and
Mm.
other celebrities helped. This is back when celebrities used to have a soul. They actually helped the movement. They actually helped facilitate the movement. In fact, if you weren't down with the movement, they'd rock with you back then. But
Yep.
that's something else. That we got to get back to that place. You know what I mean? Shout out to that sister. She was a rider among riders. So respect to the ancestor. Um, as far as forgiveness is concerned, real simple, real to the point. We need to start being more forgiving as a people in particular to other Black people.
Yes.
Um, Jason Black, of all people think that Jason Black is very harsh, but Jason Black actually said this. He was talking about, Black women, and, a lot of them, may give brothers a hard time, and he understands where brothers are coming from with some of the complaints, but he talked about how we need to be more patient with sisters because of a lot of the trauma that they've experienced and are still experiencing, and a lot of the poor examples of manhood that they've seen, a lot of the poor upbringing that they've been accustomed to, and he spoke to why it is that they sometimes give us this attitude or whatever the case may be, instead of just that they do. He spoke to the why. And he said that, as difficult as it may be, we need to try and be more understanding and forgiving of them as they do of us, because the converse is also true. So, we need to be more forgiving of each other as a people, of each other when we have petty grievances that we can let go. We're a little too triggered too quick about too much or nothing, if we're being totally honest. Larger items, we have to add our caveats in. We have to be very careful. As I stated earlier, we have to really stand firm on forgiving when it makes sense, and even if we are forgiving and we're doing it for ourselves, not being so public about it when it doesn't make sense. You understand what I'm saying? That is just called maturity, because unfortunately, a lot of people do see people who are seen as forgiving individuals as weak, as compromised, as just people that can easily be taken advantage of. And as an already vulnerable people, we cannot afford that. It's just that simple. So we need to be very stern on how we move. And we need to be careful, though it is important that we learn to forgive. We need to be careful when and how we forgive, is the way that I would state it. Because unfortunately, if you're seen as forgiving too much and forgiving the wrong types of people, particularly when, they're unrepentant and justice hasn't been served, then, no one's going to take you seriously. So we need to be very, very careful about that. As much as I am totally for and in agreement with the spirit of forgiveness, I just see how we allow it to be abused when it comes to us as a people, and as men, how we allow it to be abused when it comes to us in relationships. So I would just say, be careful out there, family, because there are always wolves lurking. You know what I mean? And people who are looking for people who are a little too forgiving to take advantage of. You know what I mean? But forgiveness, used in its proper context, can be a very powerful tool. As stated earlier, it can literally contribute to your overall health. And as a group that ranks dead last in every statistical category that has to do with health, I think that's something that we could use. We have to learn to start being able to let go of the small stuff so that we can focus properly and come together as a group to do big things. People like to use that phrase all the time, come together, and it's just kind of like a catchphrase to a lot of people. But if we truly want to come together and accomplish things, they always leave that part out. They just talk about coming together like a big ass picnic or something. Come together and do what? We're going to come together and we're going to work together to accomplish goals. We're going to need to forgive a lot of things. And that goes for all of the subgroups within Black society. Foundational Black Americans are going to have to start forgiving some of these foreigners that come here and, unfortunately, shit on their culture and, and are disrespectful towards them and hostile towards them. The antithesis, with foreigners, some of these foundational Black Americans that they say terrorized them when they were children, you're going to have to learn to forgive that. Move on. You know what I mean? All of the groups within the diaspora have these little petty beefs where we kind of bicker back and forth with each other. We're going to have to put on our big boy pants, forgive that shit, so long as it stops again. It has to come with action. We can't just blindly forgive people. Yes, we're going to have to forgive it, but you're going to also have to come to the table and do something about the things that you've done. You know what I mean? And that's how, with that forgiveness and with that work of being willing to change as a people, that's how we move forward. And I think that it's long overdue. So that's my 2 cents on forgiveness. I hope that's helpful to someone out there.
Definitely. Bobby, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. If I could paraphrase what we've all been saying as far as forgiveness goes, um, forgiveness is definitely a seasoning. It's a flavoring. It's your salt, it's your pepper, it's your paprika, your curry, your garlic powder, whatever the case may be. It's a lemon pepper. All right. Um, so long as it's accompanied by some actual meat, some actual stew, something of actual substance, then forgiveness is fantastic. But the same way how you wouldn't, or I would hope you wouldn't go around just licking and eating salt by itself. You wouldn't just go munching on pepper, on ground pepper. You wouldn't go just baptizing your tongue or your tonsils with garlic powder, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
We shouldn't go around just passing out forgiveness all willy nilly. Forgiveness is a tool, but it is part of a toolbox. And so, we also have to understand also, um, performative forgiveness does not have the same benefits. And I know, again, we've been stressing the importance of forgiveness, but all the benefits that we mentioned regarding the health benefits, the spiritual benefits, the expectations of different faiths and practices as far as forgiveness goes, all of that is fine and it's legitimate, but those effects are not the same if it's performative. If you're being bullied into forgiving or you're just doing this to get over with, or what have you, you don't get the benefits of that because it's a process. There's nothing wrong with needing some time to forgive somebody. It should take some time to forgive somebody. While forgiveness is ultimately in its ideal perfect form, it should be freely given. At the same time, we have to bear in mind that we are not perfect people and we are not on a perfect planet.
Hmm.
So therefore, you have to understand that this thing that should be like a lot of other things, this thing that's beautiful and should be able to be a gift that's freely given unto others and to yourself, you have to be strategic and mindful of how you do it. My mother used to say a long time ago, God saved me from my sins, but not from my senses. So you can't be stupid and game goofy out here. If you're out here forgiving, just because people are asking you, putting you on the spot, do you forgive this person? You're still in the midst of healing or coming to grips, or you're not even past the stages of grief and everything, and people out here putting you on the spot. Do you forgive this person, or you feel like you need to do it right away to get over with? Uh, you're doing yourself, if nobody else, a grave disservice because you are now because you're telling yourself, "I forgive this person," but you haven't ironed out the kinks.
Hmm.
You haven't got wrinkles out. The same issues are still. You haven't digested this. You forgive this person right now, and then 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, a year later, you
Hmm.
still have this weight in your chest, and you're wondering, "What's wrong? I forgave this person. I told them I forgave them,
Hmm.
but did you forgive?" That's what you
Did you
said out your
really?
mouth. That's what your brain said, told you to say, but in your chest, in your heart, in your midsection, did
Right.
you really forgive this person? Did you really let this go? Did you make peace with this? Did you bury it? Are you able to set the memorial and leave it behind? Or are you still right there, still trying to come to grips with reality and to digest this thing?
Hmm.
Because if that's the case, then you didn't forgive them. You just tricked yourself. You set yourself back.
Great
And now you're
point.
going to cause yourself more stress because, like anything else, we have a threshold for things and we have breaking points. And many times when we do things the wrong way and we fail to get the results that we desire, oftentimes what happens is because unfortunately we're not always the smartest people. Instead of realizing and being honest and saying, you know what, I didn't execute this properly. I need to go back to
Hmm.
the drawing board and get it right. unfortunately, for most people, the response is, well, I did this and it didn't work, so I'm never going to do it again.
Mm-hmm. Real talk.
Because you burned yourself out doing it the wrong way. Order matters, function matters, structure matters. Doing things in the proper order matters. Doing it against the grain, being hard headed, that can be expensive. So do things the right way. Again, get to know what this forgiveness thing really is about. Look at the benefits, look at the ways of going about doing it. If you're not a religious, if you're not a spiritual person, maybe look at some spiritual text, look at some religious text. Talk to people who seem to have experience in this. Talk to a therapist. You owe it to yourself. This is a life skill. Just like cooking, just like cleaning, just like anything else. Forgiveness is a life skill. It's a quality of life skill. You owe it to yourself to get the most out of this thing so you can get all the full benefits thereof. We only get one life. We only get one go round on this planet. Do whatever it is that you can to make sure you get the best quality of life for yourself and for your loved ones. That's a 10 cents. We appreciate you all joining and kicking up with us again for another week. You guys keep us going strong. Keep up with the feedback. We love it. We appreciate it. And we're going to continue to put out this good content for you. And we're hoping that it's going far and doing much. And please make sure to go ahead and slap that like button. Subscribe to all notifications. We're not going to blow you up nonstop day in, day out. You'll find out when we're going live so you can be part of there and catch us in action. Like our videos, share them. Don't just keep the good stuff to yourself. Share with your family, your friends, your loved ones, your coworkers, whoever. Let's get this good game and this good knowledge out there so other people can benefit. Don't just keep the blessing for yourself. Spread that thing around.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right. With that being said, we're going to close up out of here tonight. Appreciate everybody. And I hope the content was very valuable because forgiveness is a very gray area. But if you maneuver it to help you benefit yourself in the long run, then it can be a beautiful thing when it comes down to it. So with that being said, we'll check you guys next week. Appreciate everybody for joining us. And make sure you check back in for another great week next week. All right.
All right.
Peace.
Let's get it.
On the album, we do things like songs that are a little, what we call sexy. You can see from the title, it's more of a love album.